Now that we got all of our technical difficulties figured out, Andy, let's begin again.
I'm not talking about that again.
We have to.
We can do it at the end.
Okay. So, we'll jump into this then. Would some video games make a better movie or a TV series than a game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, with the video games and stuff where they're like really struggling and they're not making money like they want and they're struggling for sales and this and that, imagine if they just did a series or a movie instead. So, for example, Fallout 76 did terrible upon launch. When that came out, it was terrible.
No, it's not. It's not a when that came out. It's a. I work with a guy who is like diehard Bethesda stuff, Fallout. He refuses to touch 76.
So it actually gained popularity with the TV series. So
really?
imagine Fallout 76 just wasn't a game. It just never became a game, but instead it just was the Fallout series on Amazon. So imagine if Bethesda just didn't do Fallout 76 and they just instead did the Amazon series in its place. So we got the series like much before or long before we got it now.
Was the Amazon series based on the story in Fallout 76?
It's canon to like the games as a whole.
So it covers like 3, 4, and 76?
I would assume. I'm not
wild.
a Fallout expert. I haven't watched the entire series. So.
Well, first, I think Fallout 4 was like a really good storyline.
I enjoyed 4. I played that. I think I beat it.
Like, and Dogmeat is awesome. Dogmeat might be my favorite. 76 just isn't great. So yeah, I could definitely see that traded for like a TV series. You know, they make it an Amazon series. That in itself is a whole nother point of contention because it's like, oh, you have to have Prime to watch this. You have to have Netflix to watch this. You have to have Hulu to watch this. I have to have everything to watch something of what I want. And by the time I do that, I might as well pay for cable TV.
So yeah, but if they instead of 76, if they did the Amazon series sooner, they'd probably be on season 2 or 3 by now, because 76 came out a while ago. So if they did that series and they pitched it and they sold it to, Amazon to produce it, and they have that guaranteed money up front to make it, and then they profit however, with views or purchases or however they make money off of that after the fact. I feel like it would be better as a series rather than just instead trying to make a game. And then like the Division series, like if they did, like those games were good. I enjoyed those games, but if they would have done it as like a series instead, I think it would have been probably better for them than it would have been to make 2 games.
Yeah, so like the Division, I'm looking up something quick because I'm curious about Fallout 76. The Division was another one where it was like, yes, probably should have not made this a game.
I think that would have probably made a pretty good series, because if you make a series and the series does well, then maybe like a game coming after the fact could maybe make it do a little bit better than it did.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part is that there's an undertaking with developing the game at that point, because you really want to be right on the heels of that series. Like, you would have to do it in tandem, like almost start game development while you were still shooting it, and then articulate it that way. Maybe we do encounter partnerships or more partnerships where game developers work hand in hand with some film studios to put stuff out like this. I was trying to figure out what the development budget was for Fallout 76 because whatever it was, they spent way too much on that piece of shit. But
yeah, it's gotten. I think it has more players now than it ever did.
It's people seeing
because of the series.
Exactly.
So, when it comes to like a failed game, like I don't think The Division necessarily failed. It's just it's one that didn't do probably as well as it should have. So if they instead made it like a series, kind of like a what's that, Jack Reacher, I think is what it's called. It's like a typical action, like military style, like show that has objective, because like the storyline for the Division games is cool. Like it's a really interesting thing where it's like a plague or whatever, that it's like a sickness or whatever. It plays the agents get activated and stuff like this. Like the storyline to me sounds really sweet, and I enjoyed the games, but I think it probably would have been better articulated and told as a series or a movie.
I think a better idea is for just like games, movies, creative content in general to stop regurgitating things over and over and over again.
I mean, yeah, that is a big problem.
Even the general public is doing it now with reels. Like you see the same joke in a reel from 10 different people, and it's like,
yeah,
come on, man.
The short form content type of thing can be regurgitated so much because you have so many different apps that offer that short term content, but naturally video games do poorly as series or movies, but they've really been riding that ship pretty quickly with The Last of Us, Fallout. I feel like I'm missing another big one, that The Witcher. The Witcher did really well. I think that's kind of dead in the water now, but they've done really well, like putting out actual stuff that is good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more video games get adapted to movies where it's like sit down, slam it once, and you can actually just for a block of 2 hours get through the whole idea or the whole concept. And I understand that that's probably harder to adapt because most of like a 60-hour game, how are you going to cram that into that short span?
So that when you talk about a 60-hour long game being crammed into like a 2.5-hour movie, a lot of the stuff that's in games and stuff is like traveling from point A to point B, or doing this quest that doesn't matter to the story, or a lot of filler content that doesn't really add to the overarching story.
Like if they put Horizon Zero Dawn, let's say a good film studio picked up a script for Horizon Zero Dawn, I would absolutely be in theaters to see that.
100%.
Aren't they cast? They cast some. Aren't they doing that?
I think they are doing that. I think they're doing a BioShock series as well.
No.
Yeah, I think. I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Big Daddies.
But I think that some studios need to look at what they're doing in terms of their games and really decide, like, do we want to try, like, because nowadays you have to monetize stuff, and like it's just getting more and more difficult to monetize your game and be successful than if you just pitched it as a movie or a series instead, and a studio picked it up and you made it a series that does well. Now you've got the world at your feet, because you can do different things. You can do different things with that. You can expand it, and now you don't have to worry about trying to write a sequel and maybe ending it there. Like, you can leave it open to, if it continues to do well.
Well, I think you can only do that so many times before people are like, "Come on, man."
Well, you have to end it in relative, like, you can't just keep it going.
Like, take Harry Potter for example. If that had started as a film instead of books, I promise you by the fourth film, people would have been like, "Wrap it up. Come on.
Probably.
Ain't nobody go to school for 7 years at the same place and throw a little magic wand in the air to do crap.
Yeah,
But the books were okay because everybody was like, who's ever going to say, no, we don't want more books?
That's true, yeah.
And that, like...
Exactly.
Fast and the Furious. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how many times can you beat a dead horse?
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have probably stopped at 3, and who would have known any better?
Because I'm curious, with how well The Last of Us season 1 did, and how
Click that heart on
how
Fast and the
anticipated everybody is for the
100. What the heck?
Oh, you just made I hate you, Andy. Oh my God, Andy, you are the worst.
We needed to be signed in.
You are the worst.
Go to Docs.
Holy. That's the last time I listened to you. Oh my God.
Whoop.
So I'm curious, with them telling the part 1 and now they're going into part 2, are they going to try and carry that out and go beyond how part 2 ended and continue Ellie's story, or you want me to heart that one too? If they're going to try and milk it and keep it going, or if they're just going to draw the line and be like, okay, we've done what, because I know they're making a 3rd game.
Are they?
Yeah, 100%. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're in the process of writing the story. It's not a for sure thing that's announced, but I'm pretty sure that they're making a 3rd one.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing with all of this, right? Games, books, movies, television series. It's all a different way of storytelling.
Yes.
And when you look at, the root of the concept, the story itself, the, imaginative or perhaps partially imaginative detail of events or a sequence of events and everything that happens, there are so many different ways you can take it from one, medium to the next. And I think video games, I think it would be cool if they started looking at different books that they could adopt directly into those.
Well, they kind of did that with the Hogwarts Legacy. It was just a Harry Potter game.
Well, yeah, so that was...
And it was told from, your perspective of, you go to school at Hogwarts and you get to basically do all of what Harry Potter and all of them did and stuff like
just
that.
Just set 100 years before Harry came along.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, so it's way back. Hogwarts Legacy is almost like Hogwarts GTA. It's open world.
From what I saw, a bunch of people love that game.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of people doing a lot of really inappropriate stuff. So it was maybe I won't actually, expose this to my 11-year-old because apparently you can get drunk in it. You can do Well,
I'm sure you can control that.
Well, yeah, you can do that in real life.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But
I want an Andy Griffith Show, the game, where it's GTA style, but you're the sheriff and you get to walk around town and just be super nice to people and never arrest a single person unless it's Otis the drunk. And he comes riding literally walking into the jail or riding on a horse.
So when you talk about telling stories in different ways, I think that's something that the game developers and whoever's making this, writing the script or the story or everything like that to either pitch to a game studio or a movie studio or what have you, it's what is the best way to tell this story? What's the best way to accomplish what we want to accomplish in telling the story?
Well, and I think it's dependent on level of detail too.
And the other thing you have to think about too is if we make this a game, are we going to be able to make the gameplay engaging to keep your attention? Because people have such a small attention span now that if it doesn't grab you immediately, it's done.
Yeah, I don't think Brokeback Mountain would ever make a console. That would be pretty repetitive.
So it's
But I played Farming Simulator for hours. Did I just admit that to people?
dude. I've played House Flipper.
Okay, we
Have
need
you-
to.
have
We
you
need
played that game?
No, I haven't. But we need to have a talk.
But when I think
Oh,
if they can do that, then I think it would open up the world to maybe having more good series and more good games. Like the quality would come back because the quality for everything right now is just kind of in the dumpster.
no. Quality ain't coming back.
Oh well.
So quality, people have to give a shit. And I think that the common theme throughout everywhere anymore is just not caring because of this, that, or the other. It's like, oh, that's a problem? Okay.
Yeah, the gaming industry is in a really rough spot right now. I mean, a lot of games that are coming out aren't making money, and they're not making enough to keep the studio afloat. They're closing studios, so
People can't afford to buy games.
but there's the other problem is there's too many games coming out. You can't keep up with it.
Well,
If you don't buy it day one, then it's
old news.
It's old news. Yeah.
No.
For the developer, if you don't buy it day
Well,
one,
yeah,
those
I mean, it
day one
doesn't help
numbers don't
them.
come in and they're down. They're looking at well, why?
So the wild thing about that to me is you think about the developer, when they sell the game, they're selling it to a retailer. That retailer's paying for it either way. They're paying for it. Whether doesn't matter what the actual consumer pays for the retailer for it.
Yeah.
The developer gets that money.
Mm-hmm.
So what that tells me is that retailers aren't buying as many games.
Because they don't have as much demand.
Exactly. And they're not
Yeah.
going to just take hits.
Yeah.
Microsoft isn't making new systems.
I think there's been a lot of talk about Xbox kind of in the gutter right now. They're kind of digging themselves a
Wait.
grave.
They're done?
No,
Are they done?
they're not done.
Are you sure?
They're
Are they going to be done?
Exploring their future, and I think
Listen
they
to
wanna
me
get-
now. Did Bill Gates give up?
No,
Damn it.
they don't want to. They want to figure out a way to succeed. So they're trying. They're trying to push Game Pass. Obviously, that's their thing. They're trying to put Game Pass on other systems. So they're trying to push that. They're trying to. I think Microsoft just closed 2 studios. And they're really struggling, and a lot of people are watching what they're talking about, and they're like, we don't care, we're not interested. What you're doing is not what we want. So they're struggling.
So the PlayStation is the console that it's on.
Well,
I said it.
So
I stand by it.
PlayStation has their own. I mean, if Game Pass were to come to PlayStation, it wouldn't come to PlayStation.
Never.
Game Pass would go on the Switch, I think.
That's a stretch.
Well, Phil Spencer for Xbox, I think there was rumors that he wanted to try and buy Nintendo.
That's also a stretch. There's not many people out there that could just buy Nintendo.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, and only not saying that there aren't plenty of people that have money. I think there's a lot of people that have enough money to buy Nintendo. I just think Nintendo would be like, yeah, we're going to thoroughly vet whoever we sell to.
I think the people that you could pitch Game Pass to that would even entertain it would be Nintendo.
I don't think Nintendo wants to get in bed with Microsoft.
I don't think they do either, but I think if there were one out of Sony and Nintendo, which one would take it more? I think because Sony has so Sony has their own Game Pass. So it's
Sony just filed that patent for the AI crap. So
Sony's got their own stuff that they're looking into.
And they definitely need to stop looking at that cuz Game Pass is rough. Oh, Microsoft. It's Microsoft. Everything Microsoft is rough.
It's on PC. So I mean, it has a more expansive audience, especially with PC gaining popularity with stuff. And you can play Game Pass on your phone and iPad and your smart TV and stuff. Like, but then you're pushing the cloud gaming thing, and cloud gaming is not where you want to be.
Isn't
right now.
Game Pass basically just Steam?
No.
What's
If they, this is funny. I just watched an Asmongold video where he was talking about Xbox. He said one of the things that I think would be great is if they put Game Pass onto Steam. Like if they had a way to access the Game Pass library through your Steam account, because then it's all in one launcher and it's nice and easy.
so is Game Pass more like PlayStation Plus?
Basically, yeah, it's Xbox's version of like their. If
So
you
it's their
pay-
top hits that you pay $9.99 a month for.
Yes.
So Sony already has it.
Yeah,
Microsoft put it out.
Nintendo has their classic emulation stuff. But
Go home, Microsoft.
I think they're gonna have a tough time.
Done.
pitching
They're
pitching
done.
Game Pass to other like systems and stuff.
The only thing they can offer the world anymore
And
is the Office suite.
I did the Game Pass on my phone the one time, and it was okay, but it's definitely not anywhere near where it needs to be like perfectly playable.
Yes, PlayStation all the way.
So, another topic that I wanted to talk about is I saw an article that was somebody was selling ad space in their game. So, I
Daddy
think
in the
it
sheets.
was for like a sports game, or it was for like a racing game where they have ad space, like on the track and stuff like that.
All right, look. You mean ad space on the track?
Yeah. So like,
Isn't that iRacing?
no, like this was like a game that you can like World of Outlaws for the PlayStation, or
So you're not talking about like an injected ad where everything stops and you have to watch like 5 seconds of a commercial and
no, but
because you do that to one of my racing games and I'm gonna come find you.
how long do you think it will be until that is entertained or not, or already in the conversation?
I mean, they do it for mobile games.
When you're playing your PlayStation 5 game that you just spent $70 for, and you sit down, you install everything, you're ready to play, you play for 15 minutes, and then you get an ad popped up.
I don't think you can do it on games that people pay for a license for. I don't think that would
hope
fly.
so.
I mean, like, I don't think that would ever fly.
Now,
But it is residual income. It's continuous income. And in the case of most, like, mobile games, I'm sure there's a way to do it with, like, a console game. If you have one advertiser, the agreement runs out, you can switch that for another ad when you get somebody else to sign a contract.
yeah,
So,
so like racing games are perfect because
no, they're not.
not those kinds of ads, but
No, you
ad
mean like
space.
ads? Yeah. So like that, I get that. I think is a great idea. I mean, because you think about these games,
or open world games that are in a city.
well, yeah, like think of Need for Speed. You're cruising through the city and you go by this billboard, and before it always used to say EA on it, or like
Yeah,
it
why
might
not
have
sell that space to Papa John's or Pizza Hut.
the
or-
licensing, right?
Yeah, why they haven't done that more often? Because yeah, like when you're playing those Need for Speed games, yeah, all you see is like either fake ads or you've got like that. But now you can just go in and probably delete it if the contract runs out or what have you.
Well, and that's so well, that would be harder to do because it's actually a texture, right? Like
Okay, maybe
that's
yeah.
like so there's integrated and then there's like
Yeah, that's true.
surface level.
Yeah.
I think you could do it, but you would have to build everything around that being interchangeable.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have the technology
Oh, I know they
to
do,
do
but
it.
I'm just saying it wouldn't be as straightforward as just like you're driving through the city and you're about to cross the finish line and then the ad pops up for 5 seconds and it's like this rolling video and it's like
Yeah, I would be like, if I like for the PlayStation Plus catalog, if you are downloading a game from there because you're paying for the service, you're not paying for the game, they could probably integrate ads that way, which would be absolutely miserable. I would just cancel it right then and there.
Yeah, and I think you have to be careful with the ads that you pick for that kind of stuff.
Why is that?
Well, Relevance. Relevance, like, I think you want to stay relevant. Like, in a racing game, your advertiser, you're not going to advertise shoes for a racing game.
I mean,
Racing game contextually, you might like advertise different car makes, different.
I mean, yeah, it has to make sense. But for a racing game, you're kind of like, depending on the style of racing, if you're like an indie racing or like your dirt racing or your NASCAR racing, like whatever racing, like look at what the actual sport gets sponsorships from and just go for that.
Well, and the other thing is, I don't think you can put alcohol ads in any of these.
Well, you don't have to do that. You can draw the line there, obviously.
You have to, because legally you can't advertise alcohol directly to minors.
Yeah.
And that's, basically, I mean,
technically that's
ESRB
your target,
stops below 21. So it's one of those things where it's like, But yeah, okay, advanced auto parts. Yeah, like that in a racing game makes sense because, there's context there. It's like, you've got a 13-year-old, they're playing Need for Speed, they see the Advanced Auto Parts logo, and that's awesome because it's right down the street. Mm-hmm. And then over the weekend, Dad's got to change the oil in the car, and the kid's like, hey, why don't you go to Advance?
I mean, that makes sense.
That's what I mean by context. Like, you can't have...
It's an interesting thing to think about because, like, as soon as I saw the article, and I was just like, ooh, what do you mean? And I looked and I read it, and it was I think it was like a sports game or a racing game. But then my brain started thinking like, oh, like maybe like there's going to be some sort of ads when you either play a game to an extent or when you like stream a game or download a game from like the Game Pass or whatever. They have like these integrated ads. Just because the game industry now is just rushing to try and monetize and just make that income like. Not just buy the game, that's what we make, but buy the game, that's what we make. Microtransactions, that's what we make, and subscription, that's what we make, and like they're just trying to make as much money as humanly possible from a single game, and they are struggling to find a way to do that because once the game dies, the income dies.
So isn't it hilarious how Office Space came out how long ago and they were just skimming pennies off of every transaction at the business and now here we are in 2024 and everybody's like, how can we get a bunch of transactions that are worth nothing?
Yeah, and you have to really, like, especially now with games, like, you got to be careful on your microtransactions because, Star Wars Outlaws, that's all that needs to be said. People are lighting that game up, and it's not even close to release. I want to see the numbers on how poorly that sells day one.
My daughter was like 6, and she somehow hopped on to my PlayStation, played my Fortnite account, and I wound up spending like $368 on skins and other stuff. And I mean, I couldn't be mad. I was like, oh, well, you didn't really know not to do this, but don't do this.
God, you're not the only one that's had that problem, but that is, the microtransactions are dangerous to get into.
You know what else is dangerous to get into?
Mm-hmm.
A 1988 Porsche.
Do you have something to tell me, Andy?
Not here.
Did you buy a 1988 Porsche? And why am I just... Well,
No.
I've talked to you a total of like 2 times in the past 7 days, Mr. I'm so busy.
Dude, he'll tell you. The same thing. Andrew, we talk like what? Once? Like maybe a day for the past week?
Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Give me your friendship card. Give it to me. We're going to bounce back into the first topic we started with before we had all
I don't want to talk about this again.
AAA games versus indie games. AAA games seem to be fumbling the ball quite a bit, but indie games seem to be smashing it out of the park.
I don't think they're fumbling.
I believe they're fumbling.
It's not fumbling. They're doing what they always did, which isn't working anymore.
So, AAA games, if you don't know like that by like that name, it's like Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Final Fantasy 7, Horizon Zero Dawn. Asking me to check the DoorDash while we're live. Oh my god!
And not even via text. Oh.
Our order is outside.
Oh, so you got 5 guys outside waiting for you.
Yeah.
You might want to go take care of them.
You're the one upstairs. You should be taking care of that. So AAA games seem to be fumbling the ball. Minus, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto. They've been killing it. But like Horizon Zero Dawn and Final Fantasy and stuff, they've been struggling a bit. And a lot of other AAA games that are coming out too are just they're struggling to stay relevant. They're struggling to compete with, the other AAA games. But indie games that are coming out, I hear a lot of collectors and stuff talking more about indie games than I do AAA games.
Yeah, I mean,
and a lot of big streamers too. Like a lot of big streamers are really latching on to these indie games over most of the AAA games as well.
Well, yeah, and I think like indie games, when you introduce a budgetary constraint, it forces you to really think about what's important, what's not, and where you're going to cut corners, because you're not going to be able to cover it all. With these AAA games, it seems like the concept is, it's fun because whenever we set objectives for my profession, we have to establish a business value. And granted, the customer does that, but it's a number between 0 and 10 on how important it is. And, we do get a lot of situations where, we have too many that are too high and you can't really establish what's important when they're all 10 or something like that. So we, reevaluate and really get down to a priority. But I feel like at AAA game developers, it's just like, oh, this is a 10. Graphics are a 10. Playability's a 10. Controller layout's 10. What else can we make a 10? The girl in graphic design, she's a 10. What? It's like, sir, you're not supposed to say things like that.
So I think AAA studios, I think they fall into the trap of they've got their hands in too many different things, and they're trying to make them all, absolutely the best they can be, and they just end up being like mediocre at best.
Yeah, there's no concessions.
But when you have like these indie developers that this is their passion project, they've had this idea and they have this team that can like execute it, and they have the tools to like really make it something special and interesting and unique and like something that hasn't really been done before. Like or even taking an idea that somebody else had and they expand on this idea and like make it their own, but it's like a rehash, but it's not. But it's hard to like articulate what I'm trying to say. But
they really take pride in creativity.
Yes, they actually care, and they want to produce something that's good for not only like them but for the consumer as well.
Like so Rockstar Games, huge.
Yeah.
Like, blah. I would love to have an employee survey and see how many of their developers, like their actual software engineers, said, I enjoy coming to work every day. And then compare that to the rate at an indie developer.
Yeah.
I bet you the indie developer's higher.
Definitely.
And that reflects.
Yeah. And like indie games have never really been on my radar. Like I've picked up a handful over the years, but I'm beating a dead horse here with Celeste, and I'm just singing that game's praises. But
there we go.
After I played that game, I was just like, if this is what I've been missing by just glancing over indie games, like I'm really doing myself a disservice.
You know what I think about when I think Celeste?
What?
I think the little personal pizzas you get at Walmart with Mama Celeste on the front, and the little silver crisping crisping disc.
Yeah, and like I played Hollow Knight, and Cuphead looks really good. Like those games, like I've watched people play, but I've never dove in myself. But I actually just picked up Cuphead a couple months ago, and I definitely want to start playing that because Celeste was so like it was the perfect amount of time to put into a game. It had all the replayability. It had the perfect amount of time to sink into it, to be like, okay, I've experienced that. The story was fantastic. Cool. And now, you know, with Cuphead or Hollow Knight or something like that, like, it could be the same exact thing. And I think trying to find a game to play nowadays that's, like, palatable would be good.
To address what he said, I'm going to bring a bunch of those pizzas, and we're going to enjoy 2 of them on air next week. And also, he's right. We're going to be in our 70s and have a Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I mean,
what is that, 60?
One of the things that...
Yo, your wife just pointed out in chat that she's enjoying Five Guys.
It's the only time any husband would be like, okay.
I'm done. I tap out.
So, I think indie games are slowly like becoming more like popular than AAA games. Yeah,
no, I completely agree with you. Indie games are definitely taking the precedent and taking the lead. But when GTA 6 drops,
oh, that's going to be... I'm personally not going to play it. That's just... I don't have that kind of time to put into a game, nor do I want to put that much time into a game.
It's going to be the end of society as we know it.
It's going to be... Yeah.
Like,
I think you want my honest opinion?
Mm,
I think people are going to be disappointed with that game. And do you want to know why? Because
it's not VR?
That trailer and the graphics have hyped it up so much that I guarantee that the graphics are not going to be what they look like on that trailer, and people are going to be like, what the heck? I guarantee it. Or, like, it's just going to have this super high expectation, and then when it comes out and it doesn't meet it, everybody's just going to start doo-dooing all over it.
I think they should make it in VR.
I'm surprised that they haven't done that.
I think that might be a bit of a liability. That's getting a little bit too close to reality.
So, I didn't have this on the docket, but I do want to talk about that because it's a very small conversation to be had.
Yeah, what are we teaching kids when we send them into a bank with an AK-47 in a game?
So, VR. Do you think that VR is going to continue, or do you think it's going to die off?
It's not going to die. From a product standpoint, I think the strength or the desired functionality from that is actually referred to as AR, or augmented reality, as opposed to virtual reality, in a sense where, virtual reality, you put on a headset, you've got these controls, you're fully immersed because you can't see anything but the screen that's inside the headset. And, it has your gestures and stuff, but it's not like you don't run to run.
Yeah.
Augmented reality, which is where Apple is kind of going with their Vision Pro, displays things on top of what's actually there. It's very much like the Focus that Aloy had in Horizon Zero Dawn. Mm-hmm. And that's where I really, really see everything going, because if you can be like, let's say you clip something to your glasses and you can walk around and then you just snap your fingers and do that and you can see your calendar and your glasses right there. Dude, holy moly.
That's when I talk about that kind of stuff is definitely coming 100%. You have to just make it affordable. But like VR, like the PlayStation VR 2 and like
for games, it's done.
The MetaQuest, like for gaming, like I've had the MetaQuest and I had the PlayStation VR, not the second one, the first one. It was fun for like the first couple of days when you have the novelty of it. But then when you get into like you just want to sit down and play a game, like I don't want to put on this headset to where I can't see around me. Like you have to do certain gestures to be able to see around you or like to clear the thing, but like it's just not where I want to be playing games. It's a novelty. It wears off and it's just cumbersome.
It also strikes me as concerning because some of the games that I understand to be out there,
plus all the cords too.
Yeah, the cords suck, but some of the games are really questionable because you think about, like the virtual reality stuff and the different things that people are interested in, having in virtual reality, and it's like, why are you over there squatting down in the corner, Joseph? Like what are you doing over there with that headset on? Okay.
There's a lot of questionable things, and like some of the game experience, like there hasn't been, well, I guess there has been, but for me, there hasn't been something that really like caught my attention. I eventually was just like, I'm never using this again. Just sell it and just move on.
Well, and I wonder how far is too far, right? Because if you get games too close to being reality, do you blur the line too much where people start to blur the understanding of what's appropriate where?
Or it just turns into a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, I mean, that too.
VR does give people headaches. That is true. It never gave me a headache, but I definitely got to points where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But if I sit down in front of like my TV, my monitors over here, and I sit down to play a game, like I can play a game for 6-8 hours easy. If it has me in it, like I'm in it. But when it comes to like VR headsets, like I get to a point where I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I just take it off, and it's only been like an hour.
I've literally never used one.
It's really just a novelty, if I'm going to be completely honest. That's my experience. Anybody that I've shown the VR to, like I had friends come over and I put them in, Resident Evil, or I put them in.
I lied. I did do it. I did the Resident Evil remake and.
Wait, which?
Well, I don't think it was actually a remake.
4. It was Resident Evil 4.
Whichever one they were doing at Best Buy.
They had Resident Evil 7 in VR. They had Village in VR, I believe, and they had Resident Evil 4.
Whichever one
what was it on?
PlayStation VR.
The first one?
Pretty sure, yeah.
So it was probably Resident Evil 7.
I don't know. Whatever the hell I was doing, it scared the shit out of me, and I knocked over a big stack of computers.
Resident Evil 7. That one was actually, like, terrifying. Like, I got to the part where you get into the building, and you get into, like,
and the girl with the worms coming out of her face, yeah.
Well, the girl comes up with the knife, your girlfriend, and she goes to stab you, and she stabs your hand. Like, that part of the game, I was just like, whoa. Like, that was when I was like, oh, my God. Like, I need to put my hands up or else I'm going to get stabbed.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, VR isn't cool until you actually have a hole in your hand after that.
Yeah, I think VR's got a long way to go before it, like, does anything relevant. But I think VR is just a flash in the pan. I think it's either going to die out or they're going to have this big, like, moment where it's like, we have it. We figured it out. We know how to do it properly, and it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, we thought the same thing about Michael J. Fox, and then we wound up with the Back to the Future series.
Wait, there's a Back to the Future series?
The movies.
Oh, I thought you meant like a series. I was like, wait a minute, what?
That's a good idea.
So I finally decided that we're going to dive in to another ongoing segment for the podcast.
Fuck.
And we did albums already. That was really fun. Now we're going to do movies, baby. Are you this is going to be difficult.
No.
It's going to be difficult. So, I have top 4s.
You got to start in 89.
We're starting where we did with the albums. We're
You got to
starting
start
at
in
90.
89.
We will reflect later down the line.
Because I remember a damn thing from the year I was born, right?
So, we're going to start in 1990. I tried to narrow it down to 4s and keep the honorable mentions, like, really good.
Your wife just kicked me out. I'm leaving.
So, we'll start in 1990. There's no honorable mentions in this one. And fair warning, this was really difficult.
Yo,
to
we
shrink
got a
down
big
the
fucking
lists.
problem.
Hold on. Just leave me be. Hold on.
I just got to 91, and you really need to reevaluate those before we get there, because those are literally 2 of my favorite movies.
The honorable mentions?
Yes.
Too late.
No. We're going to fight later.
So this is reflective of my personal movie interests and what I think also is like some of them I put maybe for what yours would be. I was gonna do this for yours as well. Like we were gonna do this as a collaboration, but
You have no clue what I like.
I just
movies.
took over and I just
Yeah,
decided.
well.
So if your movies aren't in here,
Yes, Alicia.
I apologize because if I made these lists, there'd be like 70 honorable mentions. So we'll start in 1990. So the top 4: Home Alone, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Edward Scissorhands, and Tremors.
Tremors?
This one ain't dumb. He's trying to trick us.
Tremors.
You nailed it with the first 3. Why'd you have to go and screw it up?
Okay, I don't really like your criticism.
No, Tremors is okay, but
Tremors is a classic.
I don't know what the other options for 1990 were.
Dude, trying to narrow these down was really rough. So which one are you picking out of those 4?
Home Alone.
Home Alone?
Home Alone. Buzz, your girlfriend. Wolf.
Suck brick, kid!
Wait,
Actually, I think
that was 2.
that's the second one, yeah.
No, that's the one where he he sticks his head in the doggy door and he shoots him with the BB gun.
That's the one where he falls down the hole in the house and he... Wow! What a hole! Was that the first one or was that the second one?
It was the second one. Because they were in the multi-story New York apartment.
Okay.
But the paint cans.
I think for me, I gotta choose Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I watched that movie so much as a kid. Home Alone is a classic, and it's near and dear to my heart. But I think my Home Alone pick might be... Actually, no, never mind. That's rough. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Bro!
Sorry. I'm
That
sorry.
movie aged like doo-doo.
I'm sorry. It didn't. It's still good.
It's not.
What?
It's good like once every couple years.
I could watch this every year or every other month. And
We literally watch Home Alone every Christmas.
Yes. Yes, Home Alone.
Thank you.
Home Alone is iconic. I'm not saying Home Alone is bad, but for me, I think I'm gonna have to choose Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, well, you can be Kevin this Christmas. And I'll be the paint can.
1991. We have 2 honorable mentions.
You need to read.
We have 2 honorable mentions. The Addams Family,
Wait, which one?
like the original movie.
Okay, so this isn't Addams Family Values. Is this the
That's-
one where
that was
Fester
like-
gets married?
That was more recent. The Values was more recent.
I need to make sure I understand which Addams Family this is.
The Family Values was like
Well, that was 93.
in 93.
Yeah, the Addams Family movie was 91.
Yeah. Like I said, narrowing these down were rough. I left out a lot. Even out of honorable mentions, I left out a lot.
Yeah, so the first one was the one where Uncle Fester showed up.
So the other honorable mention is Feifel Goes West.
Dude, I watched that
Dude,
every day when I was a child. I don't understand.
I also watched it a ton when I was a kid.
I'm not gonna spoil what's above it, but I don't see how that doesn't like slip up there because Fievel. But I mean, it taught you so much.
It was really good. So the top 4 for 91 is Terminator 2. What? Get out of here! What?
Terminator. The original Terminator.
2 is the masterpiece of masterpieces.
Not when you throw Fievel in the frickin' corner.
Oh my god, I could choke this man.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which, dude, that opening scene from that movie is ingrained in my head.
Combat Conquest!
Did they pay you?
It is ingrained in my head. With the Chinese kid pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. That right there, the back-to-back years with movies like that is exactly why the next 5 years don't have any.
I loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid.
I am absolutely there with you. 2 is the best one. No, I'm not disagreeing. 2 is definitely the best one. I'm just saying that by releasing them in back-to-back years, they screwed themselves for like the next 10.
Dude, the newer ones are still good. Child's Play 3. I'm a Child's Play fan. Chucky's one of my favorite horror movies. And Silence of the Lambs. I mean, come on. So, for me, it's going to be back-to-back. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I can't not pick that movie.
Fanboy.
I 100% is a fanboy. Those first 2 movies are just some of my like comfort movies.
Bro, I'm gonna send you to Florida with 4 men in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle suits, and whatever happens, happens. And if there's video, that's great. Silence of the Lambs is my pick.
Yeah, I mean,
since I can't pick Fievel.
So, 1992. Whew, this is
oh, that's not easy.
This is not easy at all. So we have the top 4. We have Wayne's World, Mighty Ducks, Batman Returns,
Knucklepuck,
and Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2.
Dude, this one hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. Imagine me. I'm Garth in Wayne's basement getting the suck cut.
Damn it.
As you can see, it sucks as it cuts.
It certainly does suck.
Mighty Ducks.
Like,
I mean, Home Alone 2 is like amazing.
So Home Alone 2 is probably my favorite Home Alone. Mighty Ducks is just so good.
Mighty Ducks is yeah, not Batman Returns. I mean, it was okay, but
for me, it's Wayne's World.
Knucklepuck.
I can't not say Wayne's World. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I could watch it every single day and absolutely love it. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
It's pretty close.
It's so damn perfect.
I still think Mighty Ducks.
And I quote it so much. I quote it so much.
Michael J. Fox, man.
So 1993.
Oh shit!
We have.
Oh,
did I put the honorable mentions of your favorites?
Dude,
Dude, this is a stacked list too.
Can't you just make it a list of 6 and let me pick? Damn.
No. So we have 2 honorable mentions in 1993.
That's
we have Homeward Bound and Dennis the Menace.
How is that an honorable mention? Dude, Dennis the Menace is like, hey, Mr. Wilson! Oh, shit, it's that damn kid again. The part where he, like, flings the frickin' marshmallow and it hits him in the face, which actually, when that shit happens in real life, isn't funny.
Is Dennis the Menace where where they're roasting marshmallows and they catch it on fire and he flings it.
Yeah, and it hits him in the head. And that's what I was saying. When that happens in real life, it's actually freaking terrifying. But especially when it hits your daughter. But like that was another story, and it was totally an innocent mistake.
So
yeah, and then they have the beans and the robber. And let me feed you the beans.
So Dennis the Menace is a fucking classic.
Yeah, I know, dude. So I will share my thoughts after you announce the rest.
Okay, so the top 4: Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park.
Dude.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello.
Water's boiling.
Hello.
That man was gold.
Absolute gold. Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you were done. And The Sandlot. Yes. I'm gonna say mine right now. Dazed and Confused.
I knew you were going to pick
It's
that because it's the only way it made it there.
It's one of my favorite movies.
And that's the only way it deserves to be there.
It's so good.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Swap out Dennis the Menace and call it a 4-way tie for Dazed and Confused. And we'll just set that aside. We'll set it aside with a special trophy that says LJ's top movies of all time. But for 1993, Jurassic Park, Mrs. Doubtfire, Dennis the Menace, and The Sandlot all earn 10 out of 10 for me.
I'm not letting you slide on this one. You have to pick one of the 4. I let you slide on the albums, but I'm not letting you slide on the movies.
Doubtfire.
Yeah,
Dude, Robin Williams. Pure
it was tough, but Dazed
gold.
and Confused for me just really... I could watch that movie so many times. And just
So
never
Doubtfire, and I want to call this out, Doubtfire introduced into the mainstream the concept of cross-dressing in a manner that America didn't flip shit over.
It's an absolute classic. And the story, you can't put Robin Williams in a movie and not have a super heartfelt story that just comes to fruition at the end, with his kids and stuff. He does the whole thing to see his kids more. And
Cool Runnings
stuff
came
like
out
that.
in 93.
Dude, like I said at the beginning,
Bro.
trying to narrow this stuff down
Bro.
is impossible. 1994.
You are about...
Dude, look at the top 4 of 1994.
You're getting audited. I looked at all of 1994 and I wanted to come out of my chair.
So we have we have 4 honorable mentions in 94. The 4 honorable mentions are The Lion King, True Lies, The Mask, and Pulp Fiction. So, the top 4 in 1994 is Forrest Gump, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and Clerks.
Jim Carrey is just all over this. Literally written all over this. The Lion King features a scene where somebody eats their own brother, and has a lot of homosexual undertones, which...
Wait, what? In The Lion King?
Scar?
How is he homosexual?
Look it up. I'm not getting into that. That's just, dude, if you want to get us canceled, that's a quick way to get us canceled. I'm not getting into that.
That's the first time I've listened to some wild, theories on cartoons and kids movies and, all, the weird stuff that's behind all that. I've never heard anything about The Lion King in that, but now I guess I'm going to have to look that up because now you've piqued my interest.
We can talk about that after we turn the camera off. Pulp Fiction deserves to be in the top 4. I don't know where it replaces it.
Scar wants to be your daddy.
Scar wants to be your daddy, boy.
Daddy Scar.
No, he ate his brother, so.
Dude, this is a really tough list.
Clerks was good. I think swap Pulp Fiction for that.
No.
Dumb and Dumber.
Get out. Get out.
I'm trying to decide whether The Mask is better.
No, absolutely.
I mean, The Mask was kind of chintzy, but
Dumb and Dumber is peak Jim Carrey. Nothing touches that movie.
well, yeah, peak Jim Carrey. But let's remember there are more actors than Jim Carrey.
I understand that, but Dumb and Dumber, you do not top Dumb and Dumber.
It doesn't matter because my pick is Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump.
My pick. Oh boy.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die, Forrest.
Dumb and Dumber. It's got to be Dumb and Dumber.
I like it a lot.
It's got to be Dumb and Dumber.
Tom Hanks is better.
What?
Mama said life is like a box of chocolates.
I could.
You never know what you're gonna get.
I do want to say Clerks, and Ace Ventura came very, very close. But Dumb and Dumber.
Bro, the guy ran across America for no damn reason.
Jenny, that whore.
Whoa!
Jenny.
Jenny, I'm gonna marry you one day.
Life's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get.
You know, before we move on, I just want to point out that whoever, I think it was that was a Universal film, right?
What?
Forrest Gump.
I believe so.
Yeah, so that completely frickin' backfired on them. They were totally trying to, reevaluate the way that was portrayed
I hear they're trying to remake
in America.
Forrest Gump.
If anybody ever tries to do that, there will be an uprising.
They're not remaking Forrest Gump.
But no, they were trying to make it seem like, because, early 90s, like, people were still pretty harsh on individuals who had issues.
Dude, Forrest Gump was a masterpiece of a movie.
Agreed, but I don't think it landed the way they wanted it to.
It landed the way for me. And the last one for this episode before we cut it off for next week. 1995. There's 5 honorable mentions.
Are you kidding me? Okay, that the fourth thing doesn't even need to be an honorable mention. It was good, but it wasn't that good.
It was fantastic. So
you have a hard-on for Jim Carrey.
Those 2 movies, yes. So
said that on it.
the five honorable mentions: Toy Story, 7, Jumanji, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, and Casper. So the top 4 are GoldenEye, 007, because Pierce Bronson is the best James Bond. Tommy Boy, because Chris Farley is king. Billy Madison, and Mallrats. I'm just going to rip your Band-Aid off now, Andy. Mallrats is the pick!
Of course it is. This is exact, like, it literally almost all of these. Your pick has been the one that doesn't even belong there, which is clearly there because it's one of your favorites.
No.
Yes.
No. Both Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for sure belong on that list. Wayne's World obviously belongs
Wayne's
on
World
there.
might be the one exception.
Dazed and Confused
Does
is
not
a
belong
classic.
there. I didn't even say that. I
And
said,
Dumb and Dumber is you can't touch. You shut your mouth, wife.
I'm just being objective. It doesn't bother me, but
Mallrats is the pick. It's the only pick.
GoldenEye.
I love Tommy Boy, and I love Billy Madison. I think they're very, very excellent.
See, I feel like Chris Farley is more better known for I live in a van down by the river.
I mean, all of the
That guy in a little coat.
That guy in a little coat.
Hey, I gotta. I like this.
Yeah, I mean Mallrats, dude. I've watched that movie so much, and I'm a Kevin Smith fanboy. So
Chris Farley wasn't in that? I thought he was in that. What was he in?
Chris Farley wasn't in what? Tommy? What? What are you talking about, Chris Farley?
Oh, Chris Farley was in that.
In Tommy Boy? Yeah.
Chris Farley was the bus driver in Billy Madison.
Yeah. Because he like, peeks up the skirt, and he...
Oh, God.
he's just like, yeah. And Adam Sandler's like, yeah, okay.
Dude, you couldn't do that shit in the movie today. Oh. Goldeneye.
Yeah. No yelling on the bus.
No yelling on the bus!
I was just on a school bus today. That was definitely not the rule anymore.
And as he grips the steering wheel, he's...
Shit.
I feel like we should we do an indie film?
What?
Should we do an indie film? Should we make an indie film?
I think we should just record ourselves reenacting scenes in movies.
Let's go rent a school bus.
Dude, movies are so good.
You remember the pen from Goldeneye?
When he throws the pen, it explodes. Yeah.
He's like, don't click it 3 times.
And is that when he has the sub? Where he's like, he picks it up and he's like,
Is
that's
this-
my lunch.
Don't touch that. It's my lunch.
Stop looking at me,
Stop
Swan.
looking at me, Swan.
Jumanji was damn good too. I mean, like,
another Robin Williams classic for
oh
sure.
yeah, like,
And I mean, I just watched the Ace Ventura movies when we were up at the cabin. They were on the Laugh channel.
yep, that
And-
it all makes sense now.
And when they cut the scene where the girl comes in to his apartment and she's trying to thank him, and he's like, "No, that won't be necessary." And then she says something like, "I insist," and she like goes down to blow him, and he's holding onto the beam, and he's like going back and forth. They cut that out, and I was so mad because that scene is so funny.
There is no way I'm getting elected to the school board being on this damn show.
Dude, the raunchy and like the raunchy movies, like they can't make them anymore, and it's so disappointing.
I mean, they can, they don't,
It's so disappointing
because everybody's like, "Oh, cancel it."
everyone's
Cancel
worried about
it.
being offended and offending other people. But dude, these movies from back at this time were they're classics for a reason. Like if you like made movies that had this kind of comedy, they would do well. They would do well. Because comedy should be a thing that like nothing like there's certain things that are obviously off limits, but where like you should be pushing that line. Because like if you're not pushing that line, then what are you doing? Like they couldn't. Imagine if Freddy Got Fingered came out right in this day,
Dude, that would not. So here's the thing: everybody would think it was hilarious, but so many people would be like, "Oh my god, I hate it." Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Sausages, sausages.
movie. It should be talked about more.
Daddy, it's an underwater treasure. It's soap on a rope, you idiot.
Oh no, the treasure! Don't worry, I'll get it.
It's in the underwater cave.
What year did this movie come out? Oh, we got a while before that comes into play. We know. Speaking of Mighty Ducks,
Look what I can do, Daddy. So how are you doing, boy?
I'm the backwards man, the backwards man, the backwards man, the backwards man.
I can walk backwards fast as you can. I can walk backwards fast as you can.
We are gonna have a blast with this.
Damn it.
With this this segment and the movies. It's
I say Geneva, you hear Swahili.
no. You say Helsinki.
I say Geneva, you hear Helsinki? Huh?
I can't. I'm crying. I am literally crying. Like my. Oh God.
We're going to have such a good time, like doing these movie picks. I'll make a shared note so that you can have more input for the next segment, Mister. I choose all of yours for honorable mentions.
So to our viewers, the whole two of you, add me. Oh my God, that's okay. We can add her.
We need someone watching our job.
What's the difference
And a third chair.
to the two that are watching? What's the difference between 3 Jokes and LJ?
The difference between 3.
Oh, I
jokes and
I
LJ.
screwed it up. What's the difference?
Oh, Alicia wants to be added to the notes.
Add her to the. That might be dangerous.
I agree.
We're gonna get canceled for this. What's the difference between LJ and 3 Cocks? And a joke. I don't know. I give up. His movie picks.
Ouch. I guarantee if you watch my movie picks, you won't be disappointed.
Probably not. I mean, they're like you. So the problem isn't that you're wrong. Five Guys. The problem is, oh boy, you need to have a talk with that girl. The problem is that you just like take your own personal bias picks and slide them in there.
So
6
that's
guys
the,
now.
that's the point. That's the point.
I think we all should just get together in a room. That just came out way out of context for what's going on in the chat.
But yeah, it's for me for sure. Yes, but I try and throw the honorable mentions. Like, you know, I have Toy Story and like it's so hard to narrow it down to 4. It's so difficult to narrow it down to 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, Toy Story was shit anyway.
It is.
I said it.
Oh, it's absolutely not. It's fantastic. But
Yeah, nope. Nope.
yeah, narrowing it down. There's some that I left out that are absolute masterpiece movies, 100%. But that's not the point of this. The point is for us to talk about our favorite movies.
Hold the hell
and
on.
choose.
What year did Aladdin come out?
That was one that I left off of there. Aladdin wasn't that great.
Bro!
Aladdin wasn't that great. The Page Master was I left out. That movie was fantastic. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know if it still holds up. But
I can show you the world.
I mean, yeah, it has an iconic song in it, but the movie as a whole isn't. I wouldn't
It is
put it on
not.
the top list.
It is not. I would. I remember what I was going to say.
I have a list of all of the stuff that I left out. It's in my notes on my phone.
And it was in 92. What was the 92 list? You picked the damn Teenage
Wayne's
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, all right, fair. I'll give you that. Thank you, Andrew. All right, yeah. Andrew, Alicia, what's the difference between 3 Cocks and a joke?
Oh, I think I know what this. Okay, I know where you're going now.
Anybody gonna offer?
What's the difference, Andy? I'm just gonna.
You can choke on a joke.
You can't choke on a joke.
Oh, we got a typo. No, LJ can't take a joke.
I can take both. But
You can cut that out later.
like, comment, subscribe, do the thing.
LJ
Watch, watch all of the stuff that you want to watch. Do what you want to
What
do.
time is it?
It's 8:25.
We're not done.
We are
We
done.
got 5 more minutes.
We are done, skis. Thanks for all who came in.
They're not done.
Yes, we are.
They're not. I'm looking something up.
What do you?
Do you remember Mavis Beacon teaches typing? Alicia, no. Did you ever use that?
The what?
Mavis Beacon teaches typing?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Why? What is that?
The spot on my damn glasses. Do you have Windex?
I have a glasses rag.
Ooh, okay. I guess we are done.
Okay. Like, comment, subscribe, do the whole thing. Watch our older stuff. Let us know what you think. Go to our Instagram. Give us a follow. Thanks for joining us in the live stream. Hopefully we won't have any more disruptions and technical difficulties to begin with. So, say the thing. Say the thing.
Yes.
Andy. Say the thing, Andy.
We were Dad's Game Room until we got canceled after this.
Bye.